What's up, historians? I'm Smith McNeill, and this is Echoes of Freedom. Together, we'll travel to America's most iconic places, uncover hidden stories, and bring the past to life. From the voices of everyday heroes to the legends we thought we knew, we'll listen to the echoes of freedom that shaped our nation. So get ready to explore, learn, and celebrate American history, one story at a time. What's up, historians? I'm over here just hanging out on the front porch of the Alston House here, and it's truly amazing to be on such a great historic site. I've been in this area for 25 years for various different things, whether it be like in the county stuff, whether it be visiting family, whether it be going to do events, whatever. I've been in this area 25 years now. For 25 years, I've never stepped foot on this property as much as I've been around. What a beautiful place it is here. We're sitting at the House in the Horseshoe State Historic Site, and this is called the Alston House, a site of an American Revolutionary War that witnessed the conflict here. Just kind of peeking inside, and of course, this place is closed today, so we can't get in, but it is beautiful inside. And so we'll have to plan a trip back when they're open to come and check it out. But this is a typical colonial home of the late 1700s. The house in the Horseshoe, though, gets its name from its location. It's built on a horseshoe in the bend of the deep river of what's now Moore County, North Carolina. The house was completed around 1772 by Colonel Philip Alston, who was a very wealthy planter, militia officer, and outspoken patriot leader during the Revolutionary War. At first glance, this home looks peaceful, and it is very peaceful, just kind of sitting here in the bend of the river. It's a stately two-story plantation house nestled in rolling hills. But during the Revolution, this was anything but peaceful ground. As for my mic issues in the last episode, I'm just checking to make sure I've got my mic is good to go. In July of 1781, just months after the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, which, by the way, if you have not seen our coverage and our episode on Guilford Courthouse National Battlefield, go check it out. It's a couple episodes ago, so make sure you go back and check it out after this episode is done. Give you another excuse to watch Echoes of Freedom. But months after the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, this quiet home became the site of a brutal firefight between Patriot and Loyalist forces. Colonel Alston and about 40 Patriot militiamen were using the house as a defensive position when they were attacked by a band of Loyalist troops led by Colonel David Fanning, a fierce Loyalist leader and notorious guerrilla fighter. The Loyalists surrounded the house and opened fire. The Patriots then fired back through these windows and the doors and wherever else they could get through back at the Loyalists. And using these thick walls as cover, for hours, gunfire echoed across the deep river valley. The scars of that fight are still visible today, and you're going to be able to see these, but I'm just going to point some out here as well as that's coming up. That may be more recent. There's a crack here in the window. There's bullet holes all in the side of this house that I'm just walking around feeling the different bullet holes from this fight. Feeling echoes of freedom, feeling the freedom of the fight here that is working towards our American independence. The bullet holes pepper the walls and the door frames of the house, silent reminders of the chaos that erupted here nearly 250 years ago. I was actually just talking with a guy that just rolled up a few minutes ago before I walked out here. Actually, funny story, I wasn't sure I could walk out here because it's closed, didn't want to get in trouble. But I was talking to a guy, he's very local to the area. He comes out here all the time and says, you just can't go inside when it's not open, but you go ahead, walk the property, whatever you want to do. So we're actually out here now reshooting this episode so we can walk the property and be out here. He told me a story I didn't even know in my research. Alston's little girl was here in the house, and she would have been killed by these bullets going through had it not been for the fact she was small enough to fit into the fireplace. And so they put her in the fireplace and were able to keep her safe during this fight. But the scars in this house are silent reminders of the chaos that erupted nearly 250 years ago. During the firefight, loyalists set the outbuildings on fire and threatened to burn the main house to the ground. Inside, Alston's wife, Temperance Alston, realized the situation was hopeless. According to tradition, she stepped out under a white flag of truce, which was a towel tied to a stick, and negotiated her husband's surrender. Yep, just did it again. That's fantastic. I'm going to take my truck to the wash. Back to the story. So, Temperance Alston steps out and surrenders to the British officers negotiating her husband's surrender. Her courage likely saved dozens of lives that day. Colonel Alston and his men then surrendered, and Fanning's forces took them prisoner. Although this battle was small in scale, it symbolized the civil war within the Revolution. Neighbor fighting neighbor, patriot versus loyalist, family divided by allegiance. So after the war, Philip Alston eventually returned right here to the Alston home, though his fortunes faded. The property was later passed on to Benjamin Williams, who served 4 terms as governor of North Carolina between 1799 and 1807. Williams expanded this plantation and turned it into a model farm, even experimenting with crop rotation and soil conservation long before it was common practice. Now I'm looking around, I'm seeing the fields of the plantation here. It is a beautiful sight. By the 20th century, the site was recognized as a state historic landmark, as it is today, and as you can see, preserved for the future generations of the house in the Horseshoe State Historic Site, which is where we are at today. So the house in the Horseshoe captures a side of the Revolutionary War that's often overlooked: the chaos, confusion, and personal cost of civil conflict. By the 20th century, the site was recognized as a state historic landmark and preserved for future generations as a house in the Horseshoe State Historic Site. So the house in the Horseshoe captures a side of the Revolutionary War that's often overlooked: the chaos, confusion, and personal cost of civil conflict. This wasn't a war fought only between nations. It tore through communities, homes, and families. If you saw our episode last week on some of my family lands, private land there, we talked about how even these small places, the smallest places, were still affected by the war, even if it wasn't on such a large scale as, say, the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, the Battle of Gettysburg, D-Day. Small communities, small plantation homes just like this, people trying to live their everyday lives, were still affected when the war walked through their streets or walked through their yards and unfolded right there in front of them, whether it be very small or super large scale. Here in the North Carolina backcountry, ordinary citizens found themselves trapped between loyalty to the crown and the dream of independence. So as we walk these grounds, and when you walk these grounds, I encourage you to come out and check out this site. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have to come back when they're open and check it out myself, get a tour inside and all of that. When you walk these grounds, you're not just standing at a house, you're standing on a battlefield, a place where history quite literally scarred the walls. So remember that every war has 2 sides: the victories and the wounds that never fully heal. From this small bend in the deep river, the echoes of 1781 still whisper through the trees. So if you're ever in the area, come on by. This is the house in the Horseshoe State Historic Site, the Alston House. What a beautiful home. Site of a small Revolutionary War battle that screams echoes of freedom to American independence. I'm Smith McNeill. We will see you on the next adventure.